What's up, YouTube? I just got back from watching Michael Myers 2018, and I figured I'd do a review. It's a movie I think the dudes weren't probably that interested in, and I was like, I got invited to a screening, and they gave me free popcorn and soda, and I'm like, all right. I did want to see the movie. It was I was interested. I'll be honest, I didn't even see the remakes that were made by um, what's that guy, Rob Zombie, because look, some people are gonna be like, "Yo, Kenny, man, you crazy." I did not like House of a Thousand Corpses. I thought the movie was a ripoff of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was like a blatant ripoff, except the guy didn't have a chainsaw, and it was just Doctor Satan. He was crazy, and it was and his crazy family. It was House of a Thousand Corpses to me was basically Texas Chainsaw. But that's neither here nor there. I did see a lot of the original Michael Myers. For some reason, the other ones just didn't appeal to me. And this one was looking good. And this one is a true sequel to the first movie. And some of all these other sequels are retconned. And I think that's kind of cool. And I think that's, to me, it might have hurt the film a little bit. But not like really, but like because I enjoyed the movie. Quick review. I enjoyed the movie. It was fun. It had some really great moments. It had a lot of tense moments, a lot of awesome old school slasher film feeling to it. It's a great movie to watch during this Halloween season because if you're like, I want to see something spooky, and it's great. It is a great slasher. Some of the tropes are there, some of the tropes are not. It is not like overly tropey, but it is great because it's a cool film because it adds to the lore of Michael Myers. And if you've seen some of the previews, I saw a little bit of the previews, and you could see that you see him in the facility, and he's locked up, and like, oh my gosh, there's Michael Myers. And but I'm pretty sure this is not spoiler. Like I mean, they're not gonna really show the man behind the mask. That was like never a thing. But you get glimpses, and I think that's pretty cool. And I think what's pretty neat is that this movie humanizes him more, so it's more of a psychotic person. And I think that's what was always different about Michael Myers, because it was a person, but for some reason, man, this guy took a beating and always just kept going. And I think in this movie, that made it like more even like holy cow, what the heck? Like, because when you're other slashers like Jason, he's he's otherworldly. He's a demon seed or something like that, right? So when he gets like shot up and all this kind of stuff, you're like, oh, well, that's just that's him. But when you happen to Michael Myers and he gets shot and he keeps on going or something like that and doesn't make a sound, it's really disturbing, and it's pretty cool. There's a lot of great performances. Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, knocks it out of the park. She, you could tell by the trailers. Well, I'll go into spoilers in a little bit. She's prepared all her life for this because, she dealt with it firsthand, and she saw how scary this man is and how psychotic and how crazy. Like, put the fear. And she's like, as long as this guy's living, I'm gonna prepare, because this guy is an unrelenting. He's a force of nature. He's there's something crazy, and like everything is done. Like the actors did great. Jamie Lee Curtis did great playing that role. But there's lies with my one problem of the film, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later in the spoiler section. But overall, it's a good movie. It's a good popcorn movie. It's a good date movie if you want to go with your date and tension and want them to hold you and jump on you. It's going to do that. It's got some great scares. It really makes me like Michael Myers a lot more, because I'll be honest, he was probably my third favorite slasher. Number one goes to Freddy. Now that I see this movie, I think he goes second. I think he goes a little bit over Jason Voorhees. I'll be honest. Because it was, I guess, the lore and like everything about it, and it was cool. And you've seen the trailer, so he gets his mask back, and there's a lot of like, that moment is just great. And even though the character is very stoic and like very doesn't talk, doesn't do anything, you could feel like that moment where I think it's because of probably the score and the music when when he gets his mask back, you're like, damn, like he could tell that he was like, oh, I can breathe again. I breathe again, breathe again. But overall, there was some standout performances. There was some really cool things. Like there's this scene with this kid, and you don't really kids, whatever. But this kid was awesome. That dynamic between the kid and the babysitter, really rad. But yeah, overall, I'll cut it. It is to be short review. Hey, go watch the movie. It is fun. And I really want to talk about like what I didn't like. And I guess without spoiling it, for me, I had a problem with the ending. That was my only kind of issue with the film. Other than that, it's just a fantastic Halloween movie with just Michael Myers just playing in the shadows. You're wondering where he's at. And I think that's what was always cool about Michael Myers. And I think that's why a lot of people like him, because he was always in the shadow. He was always someplace and you didn't know where he was. And this movie does really good job on with that, with him coming out of the dark shadows, and it's pretty neat. And I think that's why I really enjoyed it. And to me, for many years, I shared a video, I was a chainsaw maniac at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights for almost 8 years now, like since 2010. I did a little bit last year, but last year I was everywhere. I didn't get to play Michael Myers, but I did get to play Jason Voorhees. And I think I like the silent killer. I think that's just kind of terrifying, and I think that's a big part of this movie, because that's a big plot. This fool is silent, and I think that's just scary. Freddy was always cool. He'd always talk, yeah, mother, I'm gonna mess with you, I'm Freddy Krueger, and he's like, ha ha ha, and I think that was just fun. But like the silent killer is just creepy, and there's no like communicating, no like, oh my god, like he's not gonna say nothing, he's just gonna look at you and then gotcha, and like, but the kills in this are pretty visceral. There's a couple of them that are pretty bad, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what happened to me, but like now, like I see those kills, I'm like, I play Mortal Kombat, and it's okay, Mortal Kombat, I can handle it in Mortal Kombat, but but like once it starts like looking pretty real and looking real people, I'm like, oh man. But there's a couple of cool fatalities in this movie. But with that said, it's a fantastic movie. Everyone did really good. It's a great slasher film that doesn't just get too tropey. That doesn't get like, oh gosh, there's some dumb mistakes. Not gonna lie, there's some mistakes in this film that I'm like, and I gotta give it to my buddy Steve, because Steve, like, he was always the logical thinker, and he doesn't turn off his brain. He's like, dude, why did they do that? Why do they do that? There was a couple of like things in this movie where I'm like, yeah, why'd they do that? But anyways, that said, if you don't want to know about more of the movie, I'd say it's like it's an 7.5. It's a good time in the movie theater. It's a good time to have popcorn. Good to see it with some friends. Good to see it early, because the movie's going to come out, and I would recommend seeing this in a crowded crowded theater, because it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of people. Oh, don't go in there. And I think to me that those experiences in movie theaters are most fun. It's fun when you go in a movie theater and everyone's jumping and getting scared and all that kind of stuff. That to me, I like. That's always more fun. So now we're in the spoiler section. This is my spoiler dance. Spoilers. All right. So with that, I'm only going to talk really about one spoiler. The end. I didn't like the end. The end to me was unsatisfying, and I saw some reviews, and I didn't see a lot of people talk about it and everything like that, because here's why I didn't like it. Jamie Lee Curtis, after the events of the first film, and like all the other ones are retconned, she's prepared her whole life. She's lost her marriage. She's lost her child, and like almost losing her granddaughter, to the point where she's like Linda Hamilton. This is like the Terminator. She's like, dude, Terminators are coming, but now it's like Michael Myers, right? And everyone thinks she's crazy. She was fantastic in that role. Really good, just like no bullshit character. But she waits her entire life for this moment, and all the things that come together lead Michael Myers and her and this big standoff, and she was a super badass. But I am disappointed in the ending. The ending was like, oh, it was cool. You know, it was like, oh man, all right. You know, like it's the final battle. So he pulls a little bit of role reversal where she gets like thrown out of the second floor of the house and lands on the grass. And then like Michael Myers like, oh shit, I hear you know, the granddaughter. I'm gonna go kill her. I'm gonna go look over the window and see Jamie Lee Curtis. And and you hear the music and the roles kind of reverse. And now Michael Myers is like kind of being hunted, even though he was being hunted. But it was very cool. The theater got a big, good reaction from that, and that was great. But I think my big thing is, right, so we get to the end, they have the showdown, they have the fight, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis is like, hey, my daughter, I've been training you your whole life for this. So then, you know, the daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter, bam, shoots Michael Myers. And, you know, not, you know, boom, he's Michael Myers. And somehow, man, this fool keeps just getting fucked up and, you know, just keeps going, man. So that's what's kind of scary. Like, what is wrong? What is up with Michael Myers? And then Jamie Lee Curtis comes out and, you know, fights. And there's like another fight scene. And they're still going at it and everything. And they knock him down. And he ends up falling down, you know, her basement. And then they struggle to get out. They get out, and Michael Myers like grabs his daughter. You know, I'm telling you. You know, and then they escape, and then like Michael Myers is about to get out, and boom, Jamie Lee Curtis pushes a button, boom, traps him in the basement, right? Traps him in the basement, and he's like, haha, this was a trap, right? You fell into my trap card, and you know, activates the trap. It sets the basement on fire, and I'm like, cool, man, that is badass. And all this time, what was very unsettling about the movie, all this stuff is happening with Michael Myers, man. Gets his hand like, boom, shot by a shotgun. Doesn't make a sound. Gets shot. Boom, nothing. Gets like all this kind of shit that happened. Not one sound. And you're like, God dang, man, this guy. And that's the whole thing. That was like the whole motivation behind the Doctor of Freedom. But, you know, everything's on fire. The basement's on fire. And, you know, he's just standing there looking at him. Not a word. Not an emotion, and it's kind of unsettling. But then the whole entire house catches on fire, and they gotta leave. And I think the most unsettling thing is just like, why not get other guns? I know you should have some other guns, and fucking just blah 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 blah. You know, light him up. You know, smash his face. Really go to town on him, because it's like, that was her whole life. That was a whole build-up. And I believe, like, she gets to kind of watch him burn, but then they're like, oh, shit, the whole house is on fire. And, hey, there's a cool little praying mantis bug on my window up there. But anyways, that whole build-up that was there and didn't really, excuse me, it didn't pay off. You know, it was, you know, they had to leave. So, and then, you know, you see the house burning. But I think that's like happens in a lot of horror movies, because then it's like, hey, you know what, maybe, you know, he's got some strength, he's got some stuff, maybe he got out of there, maybe he did something, because you don't really get that final thing, man. It should have been like a shotgun to the mask, blah, you know, and blew apart the mask and his head off. Hey, that's just me, because I think that was such a big thing in the movie of her preparing, her wanting this moment to like, I need to kill Michael Myers. And they trap him, and they look at him, and he's not really on fire. He's not really burning. All the stuff is around him is on fire. And that was my main flaw with the film. And the thing is, there's no after credit stinger, but there is kind of a stinger, because literally when they leave, right, when, like, you know, the thing's on fire, and it's like, what, you know, you might still be alive. Like, I heard somebody say that. He's like, what? Somebody was kind of like disappointed. I'm like, man, you know, if that's a thing, like, cause, and I don't know if they're gonna try to build up a sequel, because literally, like, you know, that's like Freddy Krueger, you know, maybe he comes up and he's, you know, becomes Freddy Krueger. I don't know, but, and at the end, there's no real stinger. There's no real like, he comes out of the dirt or something like that, or does something like, but there's not that. But at the end, you know, because the credits are really short, and I stayed just, you know, because I was like searching, is there an after credit scene? There's no real after credit scene, but at the very end, you hear him breathing in his mask. So then that makes me think, did he survive? Did they just play that just for fun? and I, you know, because like it's like a slasher film, right? He's gotta survive. But I think with this film and Jamie Lee Curtis and that whole thing, it should have just been like, dude, let's blast them. They can make another remake. They can do, you know, someone else gets traumatized and, you know, becomes Michael Myers or something like that. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to see that. I just wanted to see him definitively blasted, killed, mutilated, stabbed 87 times. You know, I think Jamie Lee Curtis deserved that. You know, she got to watch him burn for a little bit and was like, oh shit, you know, the whole house is burning. I gotta go. But other than that, it's a solid film. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it. What did you think? And also, who's your favorite slasher? Gotta go with Freddy, man. Freddy he fucked me up, man. Like when I was a kid, because when you watch a scary movie, right, you're afraid of bad dreams. And Nightmare on Elm Street was about bad dreams killing you, man. So that made you did not want to go to sleep. And even while you were awake, things were scary. And then you go to sleep, oh man, I don't want to have a bad dream. And you have a bad dream, and yeah. But other than that, yeah. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your favorite slasher. And last food for thought. Like, since the 90s, since like, you know, the 80s and 90s, there haven't been any more iconic slashers. Like, you know, Scream guy is pretty good. And then there is Jigsaw. All right. But those guys can't hold a candle to Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, and Michael Myers. Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Michael Myers, and Jason. Those guys are freaking amazing. They're like the next generation Dracula, Frankenstein, and Wolfman. And there hasn't been something like that since. Like I said, there's Jigsaw, which is pretty cool. All right. And there's Scream Guy. And it's pretty solid. And Scream Guy is almost along the line of Michael Myers, but with just a psychotic maniac, like, behind the scene. But other than that, that's been my review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.